Hello everybody, my name is Eric. Welcome to my YouTube channel here. I'm doing a turn walkthrough of A World at War, which is a great board game. It's a classic one. It's a descendant of Advanced Third Reich and Empire of the Rising Sun, which itself come from Third Reich years ago with Avalon Hill. I've been playing this for 40 years, new versions of it and everything. It's a monster game. It's billed as a monster game. People are intimidated by the game, and it doesn't need to be that way. I mean, the rules could be written better, of course, and but it's not a monster. I mean, it's not an impossible game. If you're approaching this for the first time with zero experience, it can be very intimidating. So hopefully I can put together this video or two here for you to help you out. I'm doing a turn walkthrough, so I'm not going to be explaining everything in detail. This is in the middle of a game. This is the Axis 1942 fall turn. So it's right at the heart of the war, right? It's right at the turning point, at the summit of the war. So it's you're picking it up sort of in the middle. This game started with Gathering Storm and Storm over Asia, which are the prequel games. Essentially, with playing those games, you can have different starting points, different situations each time you play. This game's been going on well over a year. And this is one of them games that I'm constantly playing. There's two series that I'm constantly playing. A World at War series with Gathering Storm and Storm over Asia. I'm constantly all year round playing it. And the other series that I'm pretty much constantly always playing is the Next War series, which I really love. This was my first big game, in wargaming, and so I've always had this at the top of my #1 list to play. But the Next War series is really starting to rival it, So, but they're all good games. GMT makes good games, So it's I've got an extensive collection forming here. But anyway, I hope that this video might encourage some people to play this game, to take it up. Once you understand sort of the skeleton of the game, then you could put some of the meat on the bones, And that's true with every game. Once you understand the basic flow of the game, the basic outline of the game, then you can kind of fill in some of the details of the rules and things like that. But it's just hard getting that outline to start with. Okay, so hopefully this can help with it. We're picking this up in the fall of 1942. Like I said, the Axis turn. And in this game, Axis always go first. Allies always go second. Now in the old Advanced Reich and previous games, you would have a point in which it would switch, right? Based off of who had the most BRPs or so. I can't remember exactly. It's been so long since I played, but that would cause a flip-flop turn. It would always cause a lot of problems, depending on which side was doing the flip-flopping. So this does not have that. The whole game all the way through is always Axis and then Allies. The current situation is, you can see on the European side, the Germans are into Russia here. It's fall. The next turn is going to be winter. So whatever we do this turn, we have to, start thinking winter. The Axis powers have invaded Turkey. They've taken over the Middle East. I believe they got, if I remember, it's been a while since I actually played on this actual game. I believe Vichy's a partial ally. Spain just activated as an ally, and so the Mediterranean is pretty much closed off to the Western Allies. So the Western Allies have decided to cross the Channel, and they have landed up here in France, as you can see. Alright. So, with each turn, at the beginning of each turn, both sides roll for research, okay? And I've already rolled for research, but just to give a quick overview, you have 5 categories of research, right? And each turn you get to roll for one project in each category. So you have potentially, you could roll 5 times. So you can roll for one air project, one naval project, one military project, one intelligence project, and one atomic project. Now it don't always work that way. A lot of times you know atomic only has like, you know, for most of the game only has like 2 projects, you know, or 3 projects. So you're not always rolling, but both sides roll at the start of the turn. Okay, so I've already rolled for both all the factions. The next thing is at the start of the individual turn, so at the start of the Axis turn of 1942 fall, they can roll for diplomacy. Okay? And then when the Allies get their turn, they can roll for diplomacy. Now, the Germans, they placed diplomatic points in Spain. They rolled for Spain. The Allies did not put anything in Spain. They kind of gave up on Spain, so Spain is activated as a minor ally. So Spain is now part of the Axis Empire. If the Allies had to put diplomatic points in there, it would be a subtraction. The Axis points would be an addition. The two offset each other, and then you have to get their certain level of a roll to activate them, or for either side. So that being said, I don't think the Russians had any diplomatic points to speak of here. So let's switch over to the Pacific Front, which is looking kind of bad for the Allies. The Japanese had a major breakout in India. India's on the verge. They've landed in Australia, but they're bottled up. But they haven't really expanded to these island chains, which is really going to affect them when it comes to their surrender level. So Japan needs to get moving in that direction because it's already 42. China has completely collapsed. With capture of Chongqing, they basically just whittled China down. So all those forces got freed up to go into India. Russia and China are still not at war. I don't know how long that's going to last, but they are not at war here. And so the Japanese are looking at an invasion of Rabaul to get moving, into these island chains, get moving this way. They've captured Midway. They've captured the Aleutians. So they're going to start moving this way to try to isolate Australia and knock out both Australia and India. This armor here is going to be moved into the bridgehead here. You got U.S. subs trying to cut off the supply line into the bridgehead here at Darwin. So it's really important the Japanese break out of this. But it's slow going. I mean, it's one hex at a time without any armor to cut anything off with the zone of control. It's nip and tuck here. So alright, so let's get back to it. So first thing is staging air units. Okay, so I'm probably going to do the European side first and then switch over and redo everything on the Pacific. Usually when I play, I'll do Europe all the way up to unit construction, then I'll switch back and go to the Pacific and do the Pacific all the way up to unit construction, then I'll do them both together when it comes to builds. The Eastern Front is my focus here because we got the Allies in France, and that's a little bit of a pressure. Once the Allies get busted out and going, it's very hard to stop them. It's very hard to contain them because they're hitting you every single time. Now there's some positives. We just got the Spanish ports for our submarines, so that's going to do some damage, cause the Allies some oil shortages, but the Allies are about to take these French ports. So, to relieve some of the submarine problems. So starting off, Germany receives oil. Let me see where their oil is looking like at the moment. So they're starting the turn with 248 BRPs. And let me grab my marker here. So they've got the Axis powers in Europe. They've got 8 oil cans in their reserves. The most they can have is 10. They've got 2 synthetic oil plants. They're getting 3 from Romania. So that's 5 that's shipped up to them, and they've got an extra one down here in Mosul. Alright. So they've got a total of 6 oil canisters being shipped to them each turn. So for a grand total, they're starting the turn with 14 canisters of oil. Alright. Alrighty. Their BRP level is at 248. And their construction limit is 66. So they're really humming along at the height of Axis expansion. The Italians BRP, starting BRP is 95. Their construction rate is 20. Alright, and so that's where we're starting at for them. Alright, probably going to be taking an offensive on the Eastern Front for sure. Let's see. Now last turn we had a big breakout. The Russians sort of attrition to get some of the guys back into supply, but we got all this armor bunched up here. And the Russians have rebuilt some of their air force, which is a threat, because the Axis air units are kind of out of range. So they got 15, 17 air factors that we're going to have to deal with. That's gonna, or 18 air factors, I'm sorry. So that's going to make it hard. Let's see what we got here. Alrighty, so we've got 2 there. We've got 7 there. That's 9. We got 1 here, and that's 10. Let's see, we got another 3. That's 3. I'm not going to count the Hungarian Romanian ones yet. 13. We got 2 here is 15. The reason I'm not going to count them because I usually use those for ground support. I'm not going to count those for counter air. So we got 15. These are inverted. I need to uninvert them because it's the start of a new turn. So that's 4, 5, 9. Got 9 there. The problem is going to be basing, and that's why this first part of the turn is going to be a little bit complex here, because let's see. I'm just going to combine these. Alright, so we've got 5 there, 3 there, so we got 8 within range of all this here. So alright, so we've got to contend with 8, and then up here we've got 10. Alright, so the way I play, I like to knock these guys out, get them out of the way long before. So we could probably get 10 on 10 here. I'd like a 1 or 2 extra to get in there. So we can move 3 to here. So we'll move that one. I would like to move these air transports since our airborne is sitting there, but I need the knockout punch first. Alright, so that's going to give us 10 on 10. Alright, so with the basing you could put 5 in every city, and then if you put an air base down you can put another 5 there. So I'm at the max at that point. This armor, if you notice how some of the armor have a orange oval in the center and the other ones don't. The ones with the orange oval on War Planner, that means they exploded last turn, and so what that means is they're in supply. You know, even if they can't trace the supply line, they're in supply for 1 turn. Right now, in order to, I think, to exploit again, they have to be able to trace the supply line, but they can still be used to create the breakthrough hex for exploitation without being able to trace the supply line. So this 5/6 armor right here is technically out of supply, but he exploited, so he's in supply for the 1 turn. We're obviously going to get him back into the supply, but he will probably be used to create a breakthrough hex. The biggest issue on the Eastern Front here is this armor sticking out. If that wasn't here, I could probably make a push for Moscow, but that's really sticking into the side here. So let's find out what we're going to do with this other air unit. So this guy is out of range. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to wait till we're actually planning an attack when he flies in. This guy, I'm probably going to make my attack up here in this sector here, try to knock out these 2 armor, and let's see. Man. Let's see if I can find it. Is that a base? Heck yeah, okay, so we're going to move this guy up here. And air units can stage 8 hexes. Okay. I need to stage this guy here. Let's see. Was I sending him to the western front? I think I'm sending him to the eastern front. Oh, let me. In the previous turns, the Germans tried to stop a sea supply to the Western Allies on the beaches. They got mauled pretty bad by the American Air Force, and both the British and American navies beat them up pretty bad. So they're pretty much done for the game. I mean, I may try some raiding, but that's about it for the task force here. In fact, this is probably not even a legal task force because you have to have at least 10 to maintain a task force. Alright. Okay, so let's figure out what we're going to do with this guy. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so each turn you can do with air bases, you can put one down from your force pool and you can recycle one. So I'm going to recycle this one. You pick it up, put it here. I'm going to move this guy 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, so he's still out of range. I'd like to get him up here, but that ain't gonna happen. So this 5 and that 5. So where I'm looking at for an avenue of attack is either here and here or here and here. This river is making it hard because I only have 1 hex to attack this guy from. Okay, that's here. So if I attack this guy from this hex, then he's going to be tripled. He's going to be 9 instead of 6. So I could use one of the guys this hex to attack, but that leaves only 1 unit to attack this one, so it's going to require some air support. I could risk a 1-to-1, but I have to have at least 1 armor attack to create a breakthrough. The reason why I want to attack them both, because these armor, if I get a breakthrough here with this armor sitting here, it's going to slow down everything. I want to be able to break through and either come down here and cut off all these guys in this little pocket here and push on Stalingrad. I wanted to move these guys up here and attack here and push into Moscow, but with this guy sticking out, this guy's going to have to be eliminated so I can form some sort of cohesive line. So I couldn't get this air unit here within range, so I am probably going to use him on the attack here to get rid of that armor. I may stack up some armor and try to exploit an attack here to get closer to Moscow. We'll see. Okay, we'll see. See how the numbers work. Probably gonna leave these air transports here. I'm going to capture this city. It's going to give me another air base. Probably going to capture this city. Give me another air base. well, let's get done with the air staging here. So I think I've moved all my air units. Alrighty. Sure I'm not missing. Let's go over here to the western front. See what we got over here. Alrighty. So we are going to stage these guys and fly this guy out to, well, fly him out to Paris. He's going to be within range of the U.S. Air Force. Sorry, in range, so I may just put a, do I have an air base available? I do not. Does Italy have an air base available? Let's check out Italy. Italy does not. Okay. So U.S. has 8 there and 8 there. So they can put enough 5 here, so they're going to be within range. I'm going to fly him up. Around, so I looked at the Mediterranean front. I'm trying to quickly get this armor from Persia. It's too bad we can't go into the Soviet Union here. Actually, we can go into the Soviet Union, so we probably will. We just can't do any offensive option. Can't attack in the Soviet Union, so. Yeah, we're gonna make a push with that Italian army to Russia. Okay, let's see. Vichy, France, activate. Got an 8 result for Vichy. What was that 8 result? Let's take a look right quick. It's been a while since I played this particular game. I've been playing so many other games, I kind of lost track of where it was at. So give me just a moment. I'm gonna look in the diplomacy and see where Vichy France was at. I think they may have activated as well.
This is a great trial of strength between the British and German air forces. Can you conceive a greater...
So I got an 8 result. So we gained control of Vichy hexes. They can send 2-3 units to the western or eastern front. Not really worried about that so much this turn here. Alright, so I'm done with staging air units. Let's go to the next stage, which is counter air. I'm gonna go ahead and do the air battle here. 1, 2, 3, 4. We're gonna counter air. So we got 10 on 10. Let's see. Attempted to counter air this American. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and stage this. I'm going to go back to staging right quick and stage this within range. So, probably going to counter air this here.
I will pay my tribute to these young airmen, the great French army.
Let's see here. The question is it worth the BRP value? I'm thinking it will, because it will deter that break. So we probably are going to counter air. So that's what 6 and 5 is 11. So we can still do a limited offensive. So one thing they don't really explain really well in the rules is a full offensive costs 15 BRPs, right? But you can do a partial offensive. So if you count up the cost, if it's under 15 BRPs, you can use those units to do a limited offensive, and all the other units on the front, you can still attrition, right? So the map is divided into 3 fronts. You got the Mediterranean, the Western, and the Eastern front. You can see the little red line on the map and everything that divides up the fronts. Once you hit the 15 mark for BRPs on the offensive, it becomes a full offensive, and every unit on that front is involved in the offensive. They cannot attrition. If you do a partial offensive and stay under the 15, you can still attrition with the remaining units. Okay, so on this particular front, we're going to attack with 11 air factors, 6 Italian, 5 German, against the American 4 air factors. So we're spending 11 BRPs, so we're under 15, and we can still attrition with the ground units there because we're not hitting the full offensive mark. Now on the Eastern front, we are going to be taking the full offensive. So alright, so we're starting out the turn with 248 BRPs. Germany is, actually Italy has to pay. 1 second, y'all. So they're going to be spending 11 BRPs on the Western front, 5 of which are German, 6 of which are Italian. Alrighty. Okay, so we're going to do some counter air in here. Now, as far as air, you have dice roll modifiers, which are called DRM. Right? And through research, you can increase your dice roll modifier. Alright, so you start at a certain level, you do research, you accomplish the breakthrough, your DRM goes up. So right now, the German Air Force is sitting at a 3, the Italian sitting at a 2, the Russian Air Force, let's see where they're at. The Allies, Western Allies are at a 3, the Russians are at a 2. Okay, so on the Eastern Front, the Germans have a +1 advantage against the Russians. On the Western Front, since they're using Italian air factors, which are level 2, and the Western Allies are 3, they get a -1. Okay, so if we didn't use the Italians, we wouldn't have the -1, but then we'd be at a lower number attacking. So anyway, we're going to do the Eastern Front first. Alright, so on the air combat table, we're going to roll. We're going to go to the dice roller. We're going to do 2 lines here. One for the German, one for the Russian. Not 20 lines though. Yeah, just a second here. Okay. Alright, top line German, bottom line Russian. We're going to roll 8 and 9. Okay, so this is going to be a close one. So on the 10 chart, the Germans roll an 8 with a +1, that becomes a 9. So 4 are shot down, 6 abort. Alright. The Russians rolled a 9, which is an 8, which is 4 are shot down, 5 abort. Okay. So the thing with counter air, if all air units aren't accounted for in the result, you either have to still keep attacking them, or they can be used later. Or let's say it was a 4-4, right? 4 Russians shot down, 4 abort. That would leave them 2 unaccounted for, right? Because they got 10 there. So if you stop the attack right there, those extra 2 could still be used for defensive air support somewhere else. So you want to make sure all are accounted for, right? So we got a 4 and a 6, which means 4 shot down, 6 abort. That's all 10 accounted for. We don't need to keep attacking. We could, but we're not going to. We accomplished our goal. We have pretty much neutralized those Russian air units. Alright, so this guy is shot down, and this guy is done. And let's get... And 4 of these guys are shot down. and 6 are aborted. Alrighty, so that's taken care of there. Alright, now the other one here is out of range. I can't reach the guy at Stalingrad, so I'm going to wait, try to catch him in a counter air over a defensive or a combat hex, okay? So that gets a little bit trickier because you definitely want to neutralize them. You don't want them, you know. Alright, so over here we are flying these guys on, and we got 11 against 8. Okay, remember we got a -1 for the Axis, a +1 for the Allies. Okay, so we're going to roll now. Once again, German on top, Allies on bottom. Alright, so on the 11 chart, Allies roll, or the Axis roll a 10, which is reduced to a 9, so 5 shot down, 5 aboard. Okay. Alright, so the Americans roll a 11, which is a 10 on the 8 chart, which is 4 shot down and 5 aboard. Okay, so basically Americans lost 5, Germans lost 4. Okay, so we're going to do the American loss first because with the mixed force there, we're going to have to do the losses equally among the Germans and the Italians, so which is 2 and 2, but alright, so we're going to take a 5 off. Alright, he's now for the count, he's inverted, he loses 2, he loses 2. Turn into his hex, turn into his hex. Alright, so we've done some damage to the Americans here. Still got a lot of air though, and Britain's starting to rebuild some of their air, so it's a long haul for the Axis. Alright, so counter air is done. I'll switch to naval basing. We're not, well actually we might do some naval base changes here. Alright, so no, we're not doing any naval bases. And by the way, I forgot to say that I'm expending oil counters for German air, which pretty sure we're over. I think one canister gets you 25 air factor. I'm pretty sure our air units are over 25, so we're going to do a canister and a half for air. That should cover all our air units. We're going to do one for Army, one for Naval. So that way we can do some submarine warfare. Alright, so we're good there. Alright. Even though we're not doing any naval base changes here. We're not doing any patrols. Now patrols are great, especially submarine, because you can use patrols to knock out supply lines, you know, so you know, different functions for patrols, but that's another video. So here's the other thing they don't explain. So essentially the way supply works in this game, at the beginning of your turn you got to trace the supply line. At the end of your turn you got to trace it again, right? So you start out at the beginning of the turn, you're tracing the supply line. If your units get in supply, then great, you don't have to trace it to them again, right? But if you have units that are out of supply after the first supply phase, where you try to trace the supply line to them, right? Like this German armor up here, right? So there's no supply line to him. These hexes are owned by the Russians, and he's in a Russian armor zone of control, so he can't trace the supply line. But once I get to the ground movement part, these guys are going to move through and take control of these hexes. The supply line will be established to him. So at the end of the turn, when I trace supply again, he's going to be in supply. Even though he's not in supply right now, he's going to be in supply at the end of the turn. Okay? So on the flip side, if the Allies were trying to trace the supply line to here, and the Germans managed to cut it off so they couldn't get supply here at the beginning of the turn, at the end of the turn when you check again, they're going to be out of supply unless they somehow, you know, get air supplied or something. So anyway, but they would be eliminated. Okay, so if you check a unit supply at the beginning of the turn and he's out of supply, you check him again at the end of the turn. If he's still out of supply, then he's eliminated. There are exceptions, as there is a million of them in these games. If you're in a fortress, I think you get whittled down, and partial supply. There's that too. So there's a lot of nuance to it, but that's just a basic overall. Not doing any sea supply. That's more of a Pacific thing, though. I mean, it does take effect in this as well. No supply combat. The other thing with sea supply, it's on the non-going player, non-phasing player to demand you trace sea supply, right? So let's say it's the Allies' turn. It's going to be assumed that the Allies are going to trace the supply line from England to the British head, right? To the ports here. Alright, it's up to the German player to say, hey, show me your supply line, and it's up to the German player to intercept that supply line, okay? It's not up to the player who's actually moving. So no air supply needed, air and sea transport, not doing any of that. Ground movement. Okay, so this is where we gotta plan out this attack here. Alright, first of all, before I forget, I'm gonna move these Italian units. So 1, then 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, moving into southern Russia here. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Gosh, this thing is so glitchy. Alright, and I'm gonna go ahead and capture this port here. This could backfire on me. The Russians could come back with a vengeance, but okay. Alrighty. Okay, so now we gotta figure out what we're gonna do here. This is gonna be a monster offensive here, because the next turn's winter, so I'm not gonna be able to take a grand offensive there. So first thing, we'll move this guy up and get some of these hexes taken up. Alright, what do we got here? The gratitude of every home in our island, in our empire, and alright, I'm gonna move this 1, 2, 3. Capture that. I need those airfields. Who undaunted by odds, unwearied in their constant challenge, 1, 2, 3. Are turning the tide of the world war by their prowess and by their devotion. Never in the field of human conquest. Wish I could get these airborne guys. I could really use them here. Oh boy. 1, 2, 3. And I'm gonna go ahead and remove the exploitation thing from these. Got them all. Okay. One, two. Oh wait. 1, 2, 3. Actually, no, I'm gonna move here because we're gonna attack this guy. We gotta get this guy out of here. Alright. One, 2, 3. You can always attack here and try to break out. It's gonna be hard to take Moscow though. Wait, no, I might could attack this instead. Let me rethink this here. 7, 3, 10, 10 to 8. Okay. Okay. So the question, maybe instead of trying to attack these two armor, maybe taking this 4-5 armor here and exploiting through here would take a bigger chunk, and I can attack this guy and bust one through here. I think that might actually work. One, two, three, four. Okay, I'm kind of liking this idea. Three, 3, 6, 62 is 8. There. So it gives me 7 and 9, 16 to 9. I can throw 2 on there and make it 18 to 9. I'll give you 2 to 1 on that hex. Actually gonna move these. I'm gonna exploit this. This will exploit this. One, two, three, 4. So he's gonna have 2. The guy on him is gonna have 5, and that's gonna have a full 6 movement points left. So when you attack that, the guy with the 2 left is going to be the first 2 hexes. The guy with the 5 is going to be the next 2 hexes, and the third guy is going to be the guy reaching the gates of Stalingrad down here. Alright, so then we're going to attack this guy. Boy, this is turning into a big offensive here. Alright, so I've got 3 and 6. And 4 is 10. I got 10 to 6. Let's see if we can move some of this armor up here. 10 to 6. I can throw in these 2 guys. That'll be 12 to 6. 1, 2, 3, 4 is out of range of this guy. It's in range of this guy, but I got a 5, 4 sitting there waiting on him. I need to get some armor there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 6. hate to do this, but actually I'm going to move these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Shoot. So you're going to have one movement factor left. Move this guy 3, 4. Move this guy in here. Okay, so when I get the breakthrough here, the armor is going to move here. It's going to link this armor here. The zones of control are going to isolate this pocket. The breakthrough here is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's going to isolate this pocket. So we're about to pick out apart this Russian line. Then this armor up here is going to exploit and going to attack this armor, and then this armor. It's going to be 2 to 1. So it's going to be bad news for the Russians. Okay. It's going to go over here to the western front. What to do? I don't know if I should move the armor up front, make it harder for the Allies to break through. I'm going to do this. Okay. I'm going to try to attack some of these partisans. Okay, alright, I moved south here. Okay, it's got my attack set up, ground movement's done, air and naval missions. Alright, so right here we've got 7 and 9, 16 to 6. We throw in 2 factors, that's going to give us 18 to 6. Here we've got 6, 11 to 8. It'd be nice to have a 5-4. It's going to be a 1-to-1 attack there. Alrighty, it would have been nice to have these airfields to start the turn, but alright, so we've got 6 and 4 is 10 to 6. We're going to throw these in. We're going to hold back this 5-4 to counter air, defensive air support from this Russian unit. This 3 units here are out of range. 1, 2, 3, 4. They're out of range. So, got our missions assigned there. Nothing going on the western front. Alright. No magic energy, no combat counter air. Actually, is that DA, defensive air support, interception. Alright, he's gonna fly in on this guy here. But he's going to fly in and counter air him. So we got 5 on 5. Germans get a +1. Germans need to really remember what we talked about having to knock out all 5 to get rid of them. Alright, Germans roll a 12. That's great, which is +1, but 12 is the most you can do. 4-4, so the Russians lose 4. The Russians roll a 5, which becomes a 4. The Germans lose 1. So that went really well for the Germans. Alrighty. got our 2-to-1 here. We got a 1-to-1 here. We got a 2-to-1 here. Okay. Alrighty. And next step is going to be strategic warfare and raiders. So let me see if I'm going to do any raiding, which I'm not strong on the raiding rules. So I'm not going to raid this turn. I'm probably going to let's look at the shipyard. Yeah, we're going to try to rebuild that German Navy. Once we rebuild it, it's going to be raiding for the rest of the game. No more intercepting Allied ships. Alright, so this is a big part of the game. This can really cripple the Allies. So let's take a look at our submarine warfare. Alrighty, bear with me just a moment. So we've got there's a little cheat sheet on the website you can download. Or actually, I think it comes with the game where you can go through and just list all the modifiers. Makes life a lot easier for you, you know. So the basic modifier is the German submarines get a +1. Alright, so let's just walk through and do all the modifiers right quick. Just a second here. So the most submarines they can use for fall of 42 is 7, which is what we got. So German submarines always get a +1. We start the game with that. Ports. So let's see here. Axis control of Brest, Lorient, Saint Nazaire, or La Rochelle. So we have at least one of those. So that's a +2. Axis control of Corona, Vigo, Lisbon, or Cadiz. We got that, and we got Gibraltar. So we get a +4 when it comes to ports. U.S. being at war, we get a +1. Let's see, torpedo research. Where is our research on torpedoes? Alright, so our torpedo research, we got a +1 breakthrough, which that's a little cheapy research project that can really help and affect the game. Doesn't require a huge investment, but it really can affect the outcome of the game. ASW is a -2 because the Allies have had a couple of breakthroughs in ASW. CVEs in the box. For every 6, we got 9 CVEs in the box, so that's a -1. If we get another 3, we can have a -2. Air range. The Allies have a air range breakthrough of 1, so we get a -1. Ultra is negative because both the Axis and the Allies have the Allies have an ASW, the Axis have a sub. They offset each other, so I'm just not going to figure that in. So, alright, so when we do all the plussing and minusing, so that's 7+ for the Axis and -4 for the Allies, so it's a +3. Alright, now that +3 translates into a -3 for the Allied ASW roll. We're going to roll for ASW right quick. Greyhound. I'm just going to do the 2 rolls here. So top rolls ASW is a 4. How many ASW factors we got in the chart? We've got 8 ASW. So go down to the 8 column, roll the 4 with a -3. So it's a 1-2 result. It's a basic result. So 1 submarine sunk, 2 aboard. Alright, so that leaves us 4 reaching the convoy, and we rolled a 6 for that. Okay, so 1 sunk, 2 aboard. Alrighty, so we're going to roll on the 4, which we rolled a 6, which with a +3 is a 9, so 1 transport is sunk and 3 are damaged. Okay, 1 is sunk, 3 are damaged. Alright, but it doesn't end there. Alright, because you get 3 more transports sunk because we had a +3 modifier, and you have 4 submarines reaching the convoy. So because we had 4 subs reaching the convoy and a +3 modifier, it sinks another 7, right? So we got 9 working transports and 3 damage out of the 20 that we had. Okay, so that was pretty brutal. Could have went better for the Allies, but it's still early in the war. This is the glory days of the submarine warfare. All right. Okay. Again, if you have questions, put them in the comments. I'll answer them as best I can. Like I said, this game is really not as difficult as they make it out to be. Alrighty, so hate to leave you on a cliffhanger, but I'm not doing any airdrops on the ground combat. Okay, so had a well, I might as well roll for this right quick. Had a 2-to-1 here. Roll for that right quick. That 1-to-1 is the one that's looming out there. Now I'm playing myself, so there's a lot of things I'm not doing. Like I'm not putting description of which hex is which in the dice roll boxes. It's just me playing against me, right? If you're playing with other people, you'd want to put a description in their box. Alright, so we're going to roll for the 2-to-1 first up near Moscow. That's a 2-to-1. Exchange. Ouch, that could have went better. So we lose 6. Alright, what are we going to lose here? I may just lose the armor. Now the rule is you have to have, actually, yeah, you have to have 1 unit survive to occupy the hex. I'm going to take the armor and the air. That's 6. This guy's eliminated. Move him in here. These 3 armor units are now going to exploit that breakthrough. Alrighty, and they're going to be attacking this guy. Actually, I'm going to leave this infantry unit here. Now the reason why I want to do that is because I don't want to overstack, right? So when I attack this guy, if I eliminate him and I don't take any casualties, I'm going to have 2 units here and 3 here. I'm going to be overstacked. So I'm going to leave. I'm not going to advance that into the hex. I'm going to leave it there. I'll just go for the 1-to-1 here. This is the big breakout. Come on, baby. Monstrosel needs a new pair of boots. Ouch. 1. That didn't go good. That's an attack result. So the attacker loses. The big breakthrough didn't happen. That hurt. Alright. Got 2-to-1 here. 6. Nice. Of course, it doesn't mean anything now since, well, I can still cut off these guys down in the little bubble here. Turn. Put him here. These guys are going to exploit. They can only really move 1 head, so they moved all their factors to get there. But that 1 hex is going to put them here with this zone of control, and this pocket is going to, it's closer and closer to collapsing. Alrighty. Alright, so we've done ground combat. I just did exploitation movement, just the 1 hex. Actually, no, I did. I do get 1 more. There we go. Almost fit. Alright, so this and this is cutting off these 4 units here. Alright. Not attacking. Oh, air support. I don't have any air support up there. I'll throw this in just in case. Maybe, in case I need to take losses. Alright, so I've got 12-15 against 6. It's 2-to-1 odds up there. The reason why I'm throwing that into 3-4 is in case, maybe if I need to take a loss, I can So we got 2-1. Gonna roll again. Another 6 result. Gosh, one attack there against this Russian. Would have been nice to have that breakthrough. Okay, he's eliminated. And we're that much closer to Moscow. Alright. Could have went better, but I was hoping to have a breakthrough here and then move armor down through here and have a huge encirclement, but that Russian armor just gave me a fit. Alright. So done there. Probably should attack some of these partisans too. I didn't really attrition combat. We're gonna go over here. We got 6 against, well, 6 in attrition combat. Probably gonna, have to roll lucky to get anything with that. 2 result. I think the CTL. Now, the CTL effect is a modifier. The German CTL is, where is that? That's 3. But then you're using Italians. The Western Allies CTLs at a 1 still. So even with the plus modifier, it's not enough to affect the attrition roll because it's so low. So no effect there. No attrition down in the Mediterranean. Like I said, probably should have attacked some of these partisans. But so after our offensives, we're at 228 as far as income. We have to subtract partisan losses. Now there's a living rule where if they're next to an objective, it costs 2 BRP. So that's, Germany's going to lose 2 for this one, 1 for that one. That's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So we're going to lose 12 to partisans. The Italians will lose 1, 2, 3, 4. The Italians will lose 4 because they got 2 partisans in Greece which they control and 2 in Turkey, so they'll lose 4. Alright, so we're going to come to construction. The Germans are going to have 216 left, which is not bad for fall turn. The Italians are going to have, let's see, 85 left. So they're probably going to have some growth in the end of the year. We spent so far 3.5 barrels of oil, but we got to do spending. Germany's got a lot to replace. At this point, I'm going to end this video. I'm going to do the Pacific side in the second video, and then I'll do unit construction probably in the third video. If you have any questions, put it down in the comments, and I hope you enjoyed it. And that is a walkthrough of my World at War turn fall 1942 Axis turn. So hopefully that gives you sort of an idea of the playthrough of the game. And again, like I said, if you have questions, put them in the comments, or maybe I can address them in the video or answer them in the comments. Anyway, hope you enjoyed it, and have a wonderful night.